this is the greatest medium form of entertainment that exists, in my opinion. And that was when I first watched the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh, that's hilarious, because that was my memory I was going to share. I remember coming back from camp. This was, I think I was 11 or 12.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my parents had bought it on VHS, and I remember watching it because like my parents didn't like typically let me watch a lot of like movies by myself.
PG-13. It was a big deal.
And I remember like watching it, and like my eyes must have been huge. Watching it, like, what did I just experience?
Yeah,
because it was like kind of fantasy, but then it was also like pretty dark and gory too. So it was like getting to experience that for the first time. Like, I think I just watched the best movie ever made. And I think the critics have said it did.
And you did watch it. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, for me, and it was that old VHS, same thing, but it was like the two, because it's such a long movie, you had to take it out and put the other one in. But I was at a friend's house, and we had this, we call it Shark Club, which was this crawl space where we just had like a TV and other stuff. We'd hang out there and everything like that. And we watched it through, and I was kind of sneaking because I don't think I was allowed to watch PG-13 at the time. So there was this additional element of like,
well, we weren't 13 yet, so we weren't allowed to.
Exactly. We weren't 13. And we finished it. My friend and I finished it, and I was like, let's watch that again. And we watched the whole thing again. So we spent 6 hours in a row just watching Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship. And then, obviously, the next year, the next one came out. And then the year after that, Return of the King came out. And those are still my favorite movies today. So that was, I guess, the movie that I would be like, that cemented my love of what a film could be. And kind of brought me into that. Again, we're joking about PG-13 and R, but most of the great filmmakers weren't spending their time making G and PG movies. Those are mostly for kids. And so coming into that world of just that whole additional talent and technique that you were never able to see.
Yeah, maybe only 5 to 10% of the movies on the IMDb top 250 would be under PG-13.
Maybe. I mean, a lot of Pixar ones score really well, but yeah.
But even Pixar, even to that point, they weren't. A lot of them came out even after that point too. The ones that would have been on there.
Yeah.
So you vocational, and this was kind of a transformative time for a lot of us because a lot of us were going through this period of time where we're figuring out what we really enjoyed and maybe even what we want to do in the future. What about that, number one, maybe helped spark either that interest or made it where it was like, this is something that could be done by you? Like, what was that like?
In the class, you're saying? I think that I very quickly realized that it was something that I excelled at. I was going based on a very small sample size as far as just students in Northwest Indiana who were interested in it. But I not only felt like I exhibited some natural talent in filmmaking, when I was comparing myself to others, which is all I had the ability to do. But I also could tell that I really loved it. When most of the class was like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool, and I'll do the assignments, it was like, once I started that class, that's what I spent my free time doing, is just making productions. And then as I went on, kind of, we had like our statewide competition, which I won with the short film that myself and a couple other friends did for that. And I was able to see, okay, this is something that I think I'm talented at a higher level than just maybe something that could never become a career.
Yeah.
So that is all to say, or that is not to say that the success that I experienced in that, and we'll talk about college a little bit here too, shows that I would then be successful in filmmaking, because that's something I'm still in the midst of trying to do. But it did mean and gave me complete confidence that somewhere in the media and the video field, I could make a career.